Chania was our first cruise port stop in Greece, and our mixed-generation family decided to take a shuttle to town and walk. Not the best choice for us. In this video, we'll cover the usual port basics and what we learned from our brief time here. Let's just say we could have done things differently. I'm Troy, and this is the Port Lowdown. Chania is a coastal city in northwest Crete, the largest of the Greek islands, about 62 miles south of mainland Greece. For me, this place conjured up images of a barren, arid, and rocky island with Zorba dancing in the foreground. But Crete also has some serious history as the center of Europe's first advanced civilization, the Minoans, starting around 2000 BC. The island's biggest ticket tourist site is Knossos, a Minoan palace with well-preserved murals and grounds. Visiting this usually includes a visit to the highly regarded Heraklion Archaeological Museum nearby. So this would have been essential if our ship docked in Heraklion. Instead, we docked at Chania, which is an over 2-hour drive west from Knossos. So renting a car and driving 4 hours round trip on a tight time frame made us nervous. Chania itself with a recommended old Venetian harbor in town, as well as a recommended museum about an 8-minute drive from the city center. So visiting here seemed like a perfectly fine way of spending the day, even if we only walked around town. So we made no car reservations or tour arrangements. We knew of a shuttle bus that would take us to town and back, and the place seemed small enough. No problem. In Chania, there are 2 docking points. One is by tender, where you're shuttled from your anchored ship directly to the old harbor. Second is for the larger ships, where you dock at the Port of Souda, a roughly 15 to 20-minute drive southeast from town. That's where we landed. Souda itself is a small town with an inter-island ferry terminal and associated services next door. The layout was pretty simple. Terminal building, tour buses, taxi, concourse. My family took their time getting ready, while I rushed out to cover the surrounding area. Plus, I'm an early bird. Right out front was a wheelchair-accessible tour van, very modern, with amenities, that met right at the gangway, with friendly and curious local staff.
YouTuber?
Yes. How do you say thank you in Greek?
Ευχαριστώ.
Ευχαριστώ. Ευχαριστώ. This shaded, tented waiting area was also quite considerate and provided some foreshadowing. The bright sun would soon be my nemesis. The rest of us did the longish hike to the terminal. It didn't look like much from the outside and was quite small on the inside, but clean and modern with AC, and it came with some welcome creature comforts, like these slick bathrooms. Vending machine with cold drinks, including water, and seating. Along the wall was this QR code for the Explore Chania site. See our link if you want a preview. Unlike some port QR guides, which are mainly advertising, this one was pretty cool. You have to pick English as your language from the top here, and then you can scroll down through various attractions and maps. And the best part with these audio descriptions in Greek and English.
The Venetians built the Venetian walls of Chania to defend and guard the city.
So bring some headphones while you walk around? Like I said, pretty cool. Once outside, the ship tours were guided to the gated parking lot to the right. And also to the right was a taxi stand, with printed prices and a small bench. Driver tour packages were also on display. Taxi rates are regulated and metered with a starting base fare, then calculated on time and distance. Now, since April 2024, all Greek taxis must have credit card terminals. However, cash is still king and the preferred method of payment. So we recommend having euros in hand as a backup, especially since there's no ATM machines at the terminal. See our links in the description for some detailed taxi info. Now what I should have done, regardless of our plans, was to take down this contact information for calling a taxi later, as we found out that number would come in handy. Beyond this were the pre-arranged private tours with their signs, and the handy Chania City Bus, which takes you to town and back for 3.2 euros as of 2024. Keep walking beyond that, and you pass the guard gate, then more independent tour pickups. Quite a bustling place, and the apparent safe spot for independent, private pickup. Now, I was burning with curiosity about the local town, so I kept walking straight. I was particularly interested in this main drag, which mainly serviced the ferry passengers at the Port of Souda. Turning left, I hit the mother lode. Pharmacy, a nice one. And supermarket. Lots and lots of bakeries.
baklava
Bus. Perfect.
Looks like really cool food too, so I'm loving it. This is a really nice little street, and friendly people. The Greeks will always give you a nice welcome. Local bus stops along the next street facing the harbor, and this attractive square adjacent to the ferry terminal, which fronts an array of ATM machines, car rental offices, Avis included, and lots of cafes. See our links for maps to these services. Now, before picking up the family, I indulge in a little cafe ice cream, which is pretty popular here. And as the sun started to get hotter, a welcome relief. I've been warned about the sun here, but no matter how much I prepare, I always seem to get sideswiped by it. Or maybe it's just my relatively low tolerance for heat. At least I had extra water on hand. By the way, if you consider yourself an independent explorer on your cruise journeys, be sure to like and subscribe to easily find our growing videos of port reports, ship tours, and tips. Back at port, the family met me at the terminal and we headed for the bus. Very comfortable and air-conditioned, which by now was quite welcome. The ride to town takes about 15 to 20 minutes depending on traffic, and with these narrow, busy roads, we made it in about 20. There are pros and cons to the bus. Pro, the bus was dependable and comfortable. Con, you're not dropped off at the old port. Instead, we got off here, facing the Park of Peace and Friendship and this coffee shop. According to Google Maps, here's a link, it was a 17-minute walk to the old port through town center. Now along the way, we noticed some bank-affiliated ATMs, which we always favor over the more dubious Euronet standalone varieties. So if you want a bank-affiliated ATM, see our links for a few recommended ones along the route. And while the sidewalks are in pretty good shape, the walk felt a lot longer, especially in the increasingly nasty heat. Once in Old Town, it was pretty much high-end retail, souvenirs, and tourist restaurants. We did do some research about buying our second home. But overall, the area was a solid tourist zone. I know we're tourists too, but I kind of like to see a less commercial vibe. This area was decidedly not that. Already approaching lunchtime, hungry and hot, we reached for easy access, which meant the restaurant facing the old harbor. Very congested. I have a theory about high-traffic tourist areas like this. The food will be expensive and mediocre, because the food doesn't have to be great. It has to command a nice view. It was okay. If anything, it was a chance to sit and drink a cold one with the fan poised at us. I did get a chance to explore a bit, and I discovered this beautiful and free public bathroom. They even had a shower head. That has to be the nicest public toilet this side of Japan. See our link for a map. After lunch, we strolled towards the West End, which included the Maritime Museum of Crete and the Firka Venetian Fortress. Plus a Segway tour group. We should try that sometime. And the narrow alleys and maze-like promenades made for some fun walking. All the stores were more or less high-end boutique-type places, of course. My son did get some historic exploring in, and taking an interest in many local cats who absolutely knew what to do on a day like this. But the heat was proving too much for us, so we decided to go back. Only problem was, my family didn't fancy the walk back to the bus station midday. So how do you get a cab? Remember that number I wish I took from the port? Well, we needed that to call a cab. Or at least some contact number, since there's no official taxi dispatcher to call on. I finally found a nice store owner who gave me a number and told me to meet the taxi here at this northeastern tip by Talos Square. After some mistakes finding it, we finally got the location down. See our link for the map. My wife and her parents took the cab option while my son and I walked back to the bus stop. It was even hotter walking back. Okay, so let's debrief. What did we learn and what will we do differently? Number one, rent a car. Rental offices are within comfortable walking distance to the port, and there are quite a few of them. In addition, there are lots of available stores to gather supplies and lunch. But drive where? That was our quandary while considering this option, since Knossos was a fair distance. The immediate area has a variety of beaches and monasteries to explore, so it might have made an interesting day. Number two, if not rent a car, use cabs freely. The shuttle's great, except for where they drop you off. We actually needed more point-to-point transport, so cabs would have been the ticket. We could have booked a driver ahead of time or arranged for any driver from the port to meet us again, or secure a private tour. Number 3, take the heat seriously. It was easy to assume that, since the walks were relatively short, we wouldn't wear out so fast. Well, heat grinds us down even faster than we might think it does. Load up on water, take it slow, take lots of breaks. Don't get me wrong, Chania has its charms and the old town is certainly worthwhile to explore. But next time, I think I'd like to drive around the region and enjoy some local hospitality closer to port. That's what we did at nearby Bar Montenegro, renting a car with quite different results. You can check out that adventure, and it was an adventure, here. And keep those comments and suggestions coming, along with any questions you might have. We really look forward to hearing from you.